to be with you. No one else, only you. That's all. Yeah. See, I was getting there. I got there in the end.
Hello and welcome to Unseen, Unheard, the podcast where we discuss the Black disabled experience in the UK's music industry. My name's Joy Addo and I will be your host. I am joined today by the lovely Benny. And Benny, you're going to tell us all about yourself. First of all, how are you today?
Today, I'm feeling chilled. New environment, new people. I'm kind of easing myself into, what's to unfold. Glad to be here today, I recently did something with Attitude Is Everything as well. So it's nice to still keep that momentum, that partnership, that relationship going. I'm feeling good.
Good. No, it's good, isn't it? It's nice. It's nice when you're like around new people, but it's also like,
I know.
you just don't know what to expect. But we're very relaxed here,
on
very
guard,
chilled.
but not
so
on guard.
yes, 100%.
Yeah.
So Benny, tell me and everyone that's going to be watching and listening to this a bit about your music. You're an artist. Tell us what you do for people that don't know. Tell us everything.
Oh man, how they say you shouldn't be a jack of all trades. I think I'm a jack of all trades still.
No, you're a master of one. Come on.
Yeah, I'd say so. But yeah, my name is Benny Bizzie. I'm based in London. Been in music for about 2 decades. Started off as a grime artist, rapping, releasing lots of mixtapes back then, with so many collaborations, and just the days of pirate stations, the days of Garage, Dizzy Rascal, Clashing, Channel U, just that era and that culture, those kind of like foundations of whatever us young people in the neighborhoods were trying to create. At that point we didn't even know what we were doing. We just knew that we were bored and we needed to create something, or we were trying to change our family circumstances and we were trying to do something, and the thing that we had access to or that was closest to us was music. Was writing, was rapping, was collaborating, building communities, and just trying to build something. So that was my sort of like early stages. And then later down the line, started writing songs due to a history of growing up in church and listening to a lot of singers and choral music. Also Nigerian background, listening to a lot of Nigerian artists, and just being a fan of R&B as well, and that stuff. So yeah, I wrote a lot of songs for a lot of artists in the neighborhood whilst being a grime artist, which did go hand in hand, by the way.
Right.
But it was like grime artist by night and singer-songwriter by day.
Like it.
That kind
Light
of
and
thing.
shades.
For loads of people. Oh God, countless. But I loved it. I enjoyed it. And that progressed into me kind of taking the grime thing a bit further, releasing videos on Channel U and actually trying to, sign something with a manager, with a label, and just trying to just take it further.
Yeah.
We did a lot with that. We did get quite a lot of TV placements and radio plays, and we just kind of built something. And then later down the line, started singing my own songs and transformed into an R&B singer and tried that for a bit, see how that went. And it was well received. Did a lot of stuff with Link Up TV. Still had stuff played on Channel U, on MTV Base, on Flavor TV, a few magazines here and there, and it's just been a busy music adventure.
Sounds like it.
In London.
It sounds like it. It
In
seems like
London.
you're doing a
Yeah.
lot. What would you say you're mainly focused on now? Like, are you more focused on writing for other people, producing for other people, or are you focused on your own stuff, or just everything still?
Yeah, well, you're right, because I've moved around from Tottenham to Ealing to my own studios and various other people's studios through the collaborations and stuff. At the moment, currently, I find myself almost like, I feel like there's 2 parts of me. There's one part of me who's like using everything I've learned along my journey to mentor young musicians who are coming up today, and even actually older musicians who are trying to navigate this new sort of digital age and just the music industry in general. And I
Yeah.
found myself in some schools, some community centres, doing workshops, all that kind of stuff. So that's that side. But then as a creative, you know, what I'm creating, I find myself writing at the moment for TV, for film, for adverts, for commercial.
Okay.
I do that kind of under the radar, and then I'm still releasing stuff as an artist, more vocal R&B led stuff, and with some funding as well, support from like help musicians from Mobo and a few new partners. So things have definitely progressed, and I sort you know, I've got like my team now. It's not like when I started when it was just like
you, yeah.
me trying to navigate. I've got a certain I've got some people who believe in what I'm doing, and we've got plans. Yeah.
Nice. And didn't you say before we started recording, you said that you was going to mentor me and get me on a track?
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no,
I'm
I
sure,
don't discriminate.
I'm sure,
You know,
yeah.
like yeah.
Do you do vocal coaching?
Yeah, we can we can feed that in
Bit
there.
of auto tune, I'll be all right.
Yeah, we could do that. We could work something out.
Yeah?
Yeah, Logic Pro, and we can get you on a mic. And,
Sounds good.
yeah,
Lovely.
Yeah, cool.
Love that for me.
Yeah, cool. So,
Benny, when we spoke before, you was telling me about your disability. So again, for the people, tell me what your condition is and how it affects you, really. Because do you know what? Sometimes, a lot of the time, so people want to know like the names of our conditions, but actually that doesn't tell you anything.
No, it
you
doesn't.
know, like
It doesn't.
I said to you before on a call, didn't I, that like I'm visually impaired, but knowing the name of my condition is not going to tell you how much I can see, what support I need. So it's kind of irrelevant information. But it's more about our access requirements, isn't it? So just tell me a little bit about that. When you got diagnosed, how it affects you, for the people listening.
Yeah, I mean, openly, I am diagnosed with PTSD and sensory processing disorder, which means that the way I process external stimuli, light, sound, smell, touch, just stuff is a bit more amplified than most people. So sometimes the overload of that stimuli, whether it's spotlights or, you know, fluorescent lights or loud screeching, you know, excessive noise, you know, I have a strong reaction to those stimuli. Sometimes that might cause me to convulse, which is similar to a seizure, but not as extreme. Might get severe migraines. Might also dissociate and withdraw, so I might just kind of go absent, and it's like I find myself actually sometimes I've been out with my friends and they're like tapping me on the shoulder like, where did you go, like you just went for a sec. You know, I think the interesting thing is like it's not visible.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I look great. I look fine.
I'll take your word for it, Benny. I can't see you, so yeah, you look fantastic.
Yeah, so it's not visible. So sometimes when it is hard to navigate when you are, for example, if I was doing a gig and they've literally got a spotlight on me, which is a big trigger, it's quite hard to explain. When you look fine on the stage. It's like nothing's happening to you though. You look fit, you look great, you know, but it's like, is it until 30 minutes later I fall and black out, then you switch the spotlights off or dim it or change the lighting or whatever. I was
going to ask you about that actually, like how it affects you like at work. So you're an artist, so as you just mentioned, being on stage and having a spotlight, how do you navigate that? Do you tell venues beforehand, look, I can't deal with the spotlights, or the X, Y and Z is a trigger for me? How do you go about that? Because that must be very difficult to be worrying about. And when you think about concerts and things like that, there's always like flashing lights, there's different, there's so much, like it's such a difficult environment anyway. So how do you navigate that?
Well, recently I've got these specially like coloured lenses which do help. They're a specific colour because they do help with that part of my brain which struggles with processing light. But it is a difficult conversation to have. Promoters, venue managers, they ain't got time to be dealing with like nitty gritty stuff when they're running around. It's just that they're just so busy. So to answer a question of, you know, how do I find a, you know, quiet room for you to quickly, you know, self-regulate and whatever, get some water, hydrate, you know, get some shut eye and get your energy back, you know, that's they tend to not have the time for those discussions. And all the times I've been kind of redirected to the lighting guy. It's like, oh, sorry, I can't deal with this right now. Can you go speak to the lighting guy?
Yeah.
And it's like, look, trying to find the lighting guy is, you know,
But
it can get a bit messy. It can get a bit messy.
Yeah.
I try and do my best to, like, one of my strategies is if I've got a show, hours before that show, I try and get ample amount of rest.
Right.
Just try and stay hydrated, try and make sure I'm well fed, I'm nourished, I've got my energy up, you know. Certain little things I do, like more, just meditating, just trying to like just ease the pressure on my nervous system from when that time comes. I just try to do as much, just to kind of calm the system down a bit, so that when that intensity does come, it's not like a big whoosh. It's a bit.
But do
easier
you
to
find
manage.
that tiring though in itself,
is,
like
it
having
is.
to think about
Yeah, it is.
so much beforehand? And so like I know what you're saying about promoters and people, they don't have time, but they should have time. That's the thing. Like they actually they should make time.
Yeah.
Because as much as we have to self-advocate, it's also about trusting that where we're going, like if where we're going to be working, performing is adequate. Do you know what I mean? And so it's a hard one.
no, you're right.
But that's a lot of pressure on you, it seems like, to have to think about, okay, I need to do X, Y, and Z so that hopefully this doesn't happen on stage, but it still could.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they need to be like aware of it and make sure that everything's good for you.
And I guess it's like, if I'm focused on all that, when do I get the time to think about actually like prepping my voice and
exactly.
rehearsing my lyrics and being, you know, practicing my chords and making sure I'm ready to get on, you know, to do my song well. I mean, now there are access riders which are catering to more disabled artists and people with long-term health conditions. At some venues, not all venues have them. Those venues who are taking the initiative and, you know, changing with the times and being more accepting, being more human about their approach and their values and stuff, you know, it is starting to help. And I think, like it will take some time, but it's good to see a few venues starting to,
It's good.
meet our
that's
needs, because we are human, not robots. And
Tell me about it. And the thing is like everyone's so different. Like what you will need is different to what someone else will need. It's like we're not a monolith, you know, like everyone is just so different.
Actually, that brings me on to Just Ask campaign, because we did that with Next Stage Attitude is Everything, which is what it was a campaign we did. And Just Ask is actually, that's what we were asking for. It's like promoters, venues, like we're not
Just ask.
just ask, like it's and we're not gonna burden you with like 10 things to like accommodate. It's just sometimes they're so simple. It's a ramp, it's a quiet space, it's some water, it's, you know, colored lenses on our lyrics, it's dim lighting, it's, you know,
it's nothing major.
It's not, you know,
it's nothing major. Tell me, Benny, so like how, like, because you seem really like confident and comfortable speaking about this
now.
So take me back to when you wasn't, why you wasn't, and how you've got to this point as to like being able to even ask for help, because that's half the problem as well, isn't it? It's like us being able to ask for help or ask for support. So when did you get to that stage and how?
For a long time, I mean, even up till now, I still don't really say that, you know, I've got a long-term health condition, you know, like I've got a mental health diagnosis. I don't really say it out loud. I think that comes from, I guess, being, like I said, decades of being in an industry where certain conversations, you just don't have them. Like nobody talked about neurodiversity, and organizations didn't really like ask about, you know, who is this human that I'm signing or managing or, you know, wanting to take part in my whatever, like what does this human need? It's never really that. It's just how can I exploit this brand, this product, you know, and at the core of it, we are human. Like everything we are doing as musicians is a human experience. Like the connectivity, the expression, like the mental health and well-being aspect of like music, you know, the young people being inspired to also like have a voice, you know, all that stuff. So it is quite, it's a human business, whether you like it or not, you know. I didn't used to the main reason why I do now, honestly, is because I'm more aware of what's going on. Like, I understand it better. And that's because I've taken the
Right.
time to actually investigate, whether that's reading books, whether that's picking up the phone and asking certain, calling certain organizations and trying to find out more about it, whether that's asking for funding from help musicians and getting a psychiatrist and a psychologist to have some counseling sessions to understand it better, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So it's been a very self-leaded approach for me on my part anyway, to try and figure out
Yeah.
what's going on. And then the more I understood it, the more I was aware of what's going on, I think it was easier for me to have the language to, like I'm doing now, to express and say, it's PTSD, it's sensory
Yeah.
processing disorder,
Yeah.
it's dissociation, it's whatever, like, yeah.
That's really interesting because it's making me think as well. Like, I don't know if you ever felt like this, but sometimes the barrier for me, like with asking for support when I go somewhere, is that feeling of feeling like a burden.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
don't want to ask for too much because you don't want people to think that you're too much or you're too
Yeah.
you like too high maintenance. You need X, Y, and Z, and so I think it's really important what you said about understanding your own condition and understanding what you need in order to then ask people for help. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
really powerful.
But also, it would be great to live and be a part of an industry where you don't feel scared to just
Yeah.
say, like, like I walk in an organization today and I don't feel scared to say, hi,
Yeah.
do you mind just dimming the spotlights because I might get a seizure or have a convulsion in 30 minutes? Do you mind
Yeah.
if I have some water
Yeah.
so I stay hydrated, so I don't da-da-da-da-da?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I have my earplugs on? Do you mind just where I feel safe enough to
Yeah.
ask those questions?
100%.
I'm not feeling like if I ask, they'll start looking at me like I'm too needy.
Yeah.
And it's like, or then I get scared that I might lose that relationship do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
that uncomfortable,
No,
friction.
100%. I feel you. 100%.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? Talk to me a bit about how has it been for you? You're a black man in the music industry. What has that experience been like? And then, like, adding on your condition as well,
Yeah.
has that had an impact? Talk to me a bit about that.
Ooh. Do you know what? I'll start by just saying it's great that in 2023, I can say that there are 3 to 5 black artists in the charts in 2023. I can say that there are awards shows and awards being given to black artists. Little Sims, Cat Burns,
Little Sims.
what's his name? Dave, Stormzy, etc., etc., Skepta. There are, but I can't say that 10, 20 years ago,
Yeah.
mate. I think 10, 20 years ago, when I was doing grime, I think maybe one black artist per year, you might just about see in the charts for about 2 minutes. So it's nice that I can say that now in 2023. So that's where I'll start with. I also say things like funding, like the Power Up Fund from PRS initiative, where that's for black creators. So it's like, I just feel like today, the contribution of black artists and black music in the UK is starting to
get
be recognised, and
Yeah.
they're just being represented more. And but I think it's still early stages. It's still only the beginning. I'm not gonna get gassed and say because 1 or 2 artists are now there are
There's
1,000.
still ways to go.
There's a long way to go, and
Yeah.
there are still so many black musicians who do not feel comfortable to talk about what they're going through in terms of long-term health conditions, disability,
Yeah.
and they are great musicians.
Yeah.
And I've spoken to some where I'm like, why don't you just apply for funding there? Why don't you just ask for help? It's just a shutdown. It's just a no. It's that fear. It's that resistance. It's that how will they take to this?
Yeah.
Will I lose my place? Will I lose my relationship? Will I lose my access? The
Yeah.
little access I've gained, I don't want to lose it. So I'm scared. I don't want to say too much. I'd rather just carry the burden and, that kind of thing. And it's just, we just need a safer, more welcoming industry, and a lot more support.
Yeah.
And actually, growing up as a musician, I'm just thinking now, like, where would I have gone? Like, I don't think I can name one place that I would have gone to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like, now I know about help musicians, PRS Foundation, Musicians Union. I know a few, Next Stage, Attitude is Everything, and I can name a few places that are BAPAM even. There's a few now that I know, but in the last 15, 20 years, I didn't know nothing about it,
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
It's so interesting, and it's like when I sent you over the report that Attitude is Everything has done with Black Lives in Music, one of the things that came up in the report actually quite a lot was that intersectionality. It's like, you may be a black artist, you may be a disabled artist, you could be both, you could be LGBTQ as well. Like we are, like, as we said earlier, we're so different. Do you feel like you faced any discrimination because of your race or because of your disability, or a bit of both?
Like I said, it's just the access. Just let us in, give us the same opportunities. Like, because I don't want to sit here talking about how many funding applications I've filled in, or how many doors I've knocked on, or to try and get certain things. But I can definitely say it's not been an easy ride.
Yeah. It's
It's not been welcoming. It's not felt safe to do so.
Right.
Yeah. It's not felt like open door,
Yeah.
And no one's saying, give it freely. Of course, you've got to have, portfolio, catalogue, whatever, experience.
Yeah.
But when we get to the door,
Yeah.
open arms, welcome,
Yeah.
regardless of race,
Yeah.
disability, yeah.
Yeah, and kind of creating, like that, as you said earlier, like that
Culture.
safe space where people actually can speak about, look, I'm actually going through X, Y, and Z, or I've got this and I need this support, No, I hear you. Benny, tell me, if there's someone watching this or listening to this who's black and disabled and they are thinking about getting into the music industry, what advice would you give them?
I think, like I said to you like earlier about understanding what I was going through, it's because I took the time to do that. I'd say self-awareness, like just get to know you first of all. Like, what do you need? Because you can get lost in this race. You can get so lost in this race and forget yourself. And then it becomes all about this abstract concept that you're chasing, this charts, streaming numbers,
Yeah.
the right manager, the right publishing deal, the right record, and it becomes all that. But these times your health is deteriorating.
Yeah.
Time is passing and you're missing quality time with family, you're missing the opportunity to build relationships. And all those things matter because that's what you talk about in your songs anyway.
Yeah.
But you get so caught up in the chase and that then we do tend to neglect ourselves. And I'm saying that boldly from experience. I definitely did that. Like, I was definitely like a moving train, just like autopilot, just I want it. And that's it. And all I could see was that
That tunnel vision.
that tunnel vision.
So,
And,
so take time, like, to look after yourself first of all.
Really do.
Because the music industry is a hard one, isn't it? It's a hard one to get into. Like, it's difficult
it
for
hard.
everybody, let alone if you've got a disability to think about and you're worrying about racism as well. It's hard to navigate that.
It is hard, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Okay, actually, this is good because I'm going to talk about how I feel like also I was taught this subconsciously about this. I'll sleep when I'm dead. There's no rest for the wicked. Like all those kind of statements of like, you don't want it hard enough if you're not grinding in the studio 24/7. Like all those kind of concept of like, just that leads to burnout, literally. So
especially when you've got other things going on, that's definitely going to lead to a burnout.
We've got to change that, man. We've got to change that. I am such an advocate for well-being now and just like self-care and mental health, like, and just staying the hell alive, while you try and make it. Just stay alive, man.
100%.
Like, don't kill yourself. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it because you get it. You will get to the end. You get it, and then you get it with a burnt out body, with a ill body, with impaired mental health, and it's like, was it all worth it?
Yeah.
no connection, no relationship, no time with your family. The things that matter just kind of get shrugged under the rug, but you've got your success, you've got your chart, you've got your 1 million views, you know. It's
but
like,
what can you do with them?
you know?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear
And
you.
the last thing I'd say is just keep investing that time in just that development and that awareness, because I read a lot of books, I listened to a lot of podcasts, I went on a lot of walks. I had to change. COVID played a part in that. And 2 years of COVID, I spent a lot of time just walking, just being with myself, alone with myself, just hearing myself out. You know, what do you need, kid? Like, what's going on? How you feeling?
Listen to yourself.
Yeah.
Listen to your body.
You know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Benny, I've got one last question for you before I let you leave. What would you say? You can just summarize. What would you say to people that work in the music industry that will be listening to this? 100% they're going to be listening, because I'm going to make sure they listen. And that read our report. What would you say? What's your message to the music industry?
Humanize it. Make it human. We are human. Humans have certain needs: belonging, safety. You know, in fact, safety is number one. I can't create if I feel threatened. I can't create if I'm scared.
Yeah.
I can't create if I don't feel welcomed. I'm nervous. I start getting anxious. I can't be my best creative person. So humanize it, man. We're not robots. I get it. It's a business, but the things you call products are human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Benny.
No,
and
it's been a pleasure.
I really look forward to getting in the studio with you and recording those vocals. I just thought I'd mention it again, just in case you forgot. But thank you so much for being so honest and open. And I hope that people take something away from this and read our report. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
Been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Unseen, Unheard. If you would like more information on the report, please go to the Attitude is Everything's website or the Black Lives in Music's website, where you can read the whole report and find out more.